how do you give an account of yourself? How do you how do you look at the other and say, you're actually not that different? And how do you break that barrier? So I guess that's what I've been really conscious of all the time, is to look at the other and to really kind of theorize on that and say, look, giving an account of oneself is really about one's responsibilities towards the other. We brought our son up as a Sikh right from the start, which meant, that he wore a turban, a patka when he was younger. But of course, when I went to the University of London, one day he rings me and says, "Dad, I've cut my hair." So there's a lot of emotion involved in that. As a Sikh, coming from a very religious family, I'm all of a sudden having to confront this encounter where I'm sort of thinking, here's my son, he's 15 years old. I'm absolutely hurt. But what do I do in this situation? So, of course I broke down, kind of had this amazing sort of reaction to this, right? But I'm 10,000 miles away from him, sitting in London, and he's in Adelaide. And so I sat down and I wrote him a long letter. It's probably about 10 pages long, single-spaced. And there was a lot of emotion in the letter, and so I went to see Babaji in Birmingham. I just happened to be going to Birmingham that weekend. And he said, I walked in and he could tell I was deeply disturbed by something, and he said, so tell me what's going on. So I said, look, I feel devastated. The one thing that I really feel strongly about is being a Sikh, and part of being Sikh is, there's a strong tradition of keeping your hair, and there's very strong sort of reasons for this ritual. And here's my son, one of the most precious things in my life, who's cut his hair, and it's really sort of, he could see I'd broken down, and he said, so I said, look, Babaji, I wrote him this letter. I'm going to send him this letter. So he said, okay, let's have a look at this letter. It was a 10-page, it took him about half an hour. He sat there, diligently read the letter. And you could tell at the end of it, he was deeply moved, and he said, Paul, if you want to say anything to this child, just write him. If you want to send him a letter, I don't think you should send this letter, but if you feel compelled that you should write to him, he said, just write him and say, I love you. Love is just so powerful that when you love somebody that powerfully, even though they've, the kind of injury that at any kind of level that's been caused can be overcome through love. So I think love is almost a precondition for forgiveness. I think that's where love and forgiveness go together, right? That in a sense, it's always putting the other before you and saying, okay, well, I have to break the cycle of revenge. If I simply perpetrate this, and if I just repeated what the other has done to me, where will this thing stop?